woke Snow White remake didn't just fail, it just faded into obscurity, leaving 23-year-old Rachel Zegler and a few pals who were willing to risk everything to see the wreckage up close for an actress who was once praised as a Hollywood star, while witnessing her own film collapse in real time in a completely deserted theater. Rachel Zegler experienced the ultimate Hollywood horror, and not even Discount Tuesday could save it. Hollywood's next big thing, the waking Snow White actress went to see her own movie in what looked to be an empty theater on March 25, 2025, with a few loyal pals, including Ela Mason, Jorge Mason Remy, and Maria Isabel Demison. With almost no other people around, we were able to see the cringe up close thanks to Ilda's Instagram stories. Rachel chuckled nervously and applauded herself as Ilda screamed Zegler's name. As it showed on the screen, the gang tried to take advantage of it. They even went so far as to join a viral trend by asking a royal staff member for the tickets. Please, it's unclear whether the empty seats were a part of the performance or if the theater was rented out. Naively, he inquired for which movie. The camera panned to them, who appeared completely bewildered as they clutched their Snow White themed popcorn bucket and souvenir cup.
For which movie?
If it wasn't already extremely ironic, the evening Zegler clutched a bouquet of flowers, perhaps a consolation gift from her pals, as the box office was not awarding any prizes after a dismal $43 million opening weekend and barely $3.5 million in Thursday previews. It appears that Rachel may have been Snow White. Disney's Woe Snow White is not only a total failure, but it is also expensive. The disaster isn't even in the same ocean as the Little Mermaid remake, which debuted for $95 million, not to mention Dumbo, which, despite having a far lesser budget, made almost as much in its first weekend of release. Budgets aside, the production of Snow White cost more than $250 million, not including marketing. Critics are having a field day, and social media is flooded with images of people sitting in their rows, seemingly alone, as movie theaters seem to be more empty than ever. The internet is always coming up with something funny to say, despite Rachel Zegler's audacious claim that audiences will queue to watch her films. All that remains are the receipts, and they all indicate that Snow White was a royal failure. She fervently declares in the now viral video that she hopes people will queue up to see her movie, in spite of her imperfections and cracks. Given how poorly the Disney version did at the box office, some people are urging a GoFund to help Disney break even. To put it mildly, it did not age well.
To everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
The internet is actually the only thing waiting in line, ready to make fun of her. One commenter said plainly, "Welcome back to reality. Princess Snow White was a complete flop." Critics were quick to criticize her. Tragically, theaters across the country were empty and had poor ticket sales. Ian Miles Chong added fuel to the fire by posting the video on X and reminding everyone that Snow White is officially Disney's worst performing live-action remake in decades.
This is really a bad movie, and I apologize to Walt Disney himself. I'm sorry.
In addition to Snow White, it seems that Rachel Zegler's relationship with co-star Gallardo was also in ruins after Variety's bombshell disclosure of the behind-the-scenes chaos surrounding Disney's most recent disaster. Executives were already feeling uneasy. Now, spoiler alert, unidentified but very connected Disney sources claimed that Zegler was at the heart of it all. As for Zegler's impromptu comments about the real Snow White, they stayed quiet instead of confronting her. And then, the real disaster struck at Disney's D23 event. Zegler was all smiles and charm as she walked onto the stage. However, she shocked everyone by ending her post-thank-you message with a bold and unexpected political statement that undoubtedly sent Disney into a frenzy. The studio's main task now was damage management, and executives were horrified to see that their $270 million fairy tale had now turned into a full-fledged political maelstrom.
behind the scenes, you guys know as well as I do that those executives like Spielberg are looking at that saying, Rachel Zegler can F right off.
Now, Jonah Platt, the son of Snow White producer Mark Platt, responded to this by berating Rachel Zegler for the movie's dismal box office performance. In a since deleted Instagram comment, Platt did not hold back. According to Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, and People, this is referred to as adult accountability and responsibility. Jonah disclosed that in order to reprimand Zegler for bringing her personal politics into the film's promotional tour, his father had to practically board a flight. Jonah wrote, then shamelessly added that her behavior clearly harmed the film's box office performance. Naturally, Zegler wasn't having it at the moment, and the message stayed up for a while despite Mark Platt flying to New York to personally beg her to calm down. In the meantime, let's say that Zegler and GDAU's relationship soured. According to insiders, they were all smiles while filming, but the awkward and quick lead up to the release didn't end there. Zegler made what many saw as a backhanded comment about Goudeau in an Instagram reply after their disastrous 2025 Oscars presentation together. You can see that behind the scenes, tensions were already high as Zegler and Goudeau found themselves on opposing sides of a critical political issue. The comment was seen as strange by the internet, and even Disney insiders admitted that it felt disrespectful to a female actor. Goudeau apparently encountered serious challenges as a result of Zegler's posts, showing biased political support. She received severe criticism and even threats to her safety due to her background. According to an insider, the situation deteriorated to the point where Disney was forced to cover the cost of extra security for the mother of four, who was not aware of the repercussions of her conduct for the film Gal for Everyone. To make matters worse, the $270 million disaster film was already losing money due to costly reshoots and Zegler's persistently divisive opinions. Zegler then said on Instagram after the election that made Trump supporters never know peace. The final straw was this. Zegler finally agreed to work with a Disney-paid social media expert to verify each and every one of her remarks after much back and forth, which caused a panic within the studio. By then, she was alienating half of the possible audience for a film that was already doomed, and the studio had had enough. Mark Platt, the producer, flew out to meet her twice. Just when you thought the drama between Zegler and GDAU had been resolved, online feud watchers are back at it, this time over a glaring omission in Zegler's most recent Instagram post from March 20th, just hours before Snow White hobbled into theaters. This post was made prior to the film's March 21st release. Zegler talked about the best crew in the world, sharing how she spent 3 enchanted summers in London and fell in love with the group she worked with. Although the internet admitted that this might have been an accidental oversight, it's hard to escape viewing this as another overt snub when you take into account Zegler's Oscar night jab and all the tensions that occur behind the scenes. The drama would not stop there if Snow White's poor box office performance wasn't already a nightmare straight out of a fairy tale. When Disney revealed Rachel Zegler as their new Snow White, the internet went crazy, similar to the backlash Halle Bailey faced when she was chosen to play Ariel Zegler in A Little Mermaid. Some critics chastised the Latina actress for playing the Pelican Princess. She didn't hold back, though, as she responded to the furious keyboard warriors with the following since-deleted social media post. Yes, I am Snow White. No, I am not bleaching my skin. According to the Wall Street Journal, she also called her critics losers for the role she wrote in a 2020 The Variety Show with Andrew Garfield because they were obsessed with maintaining the cartoon princess's bloodline purity, which didn't exactly allay the ire. Zegler acknowledged the excitement around her casting and claimed that angry people were the reason she had become a trending topic, despite the fact that controversy may often help a movie become more famous. Snow White, played by Zegler, has been struggling from the beginning and isn't feeling the magic you see. Her own comments about the subject in a 2020 The Extra interview haven't helped either, and it was made public. Regarding Prince Charming, Zegler stirred controversy when she called the original 1937 Snow White storyline odd, concentrating mostly on her infatuation with a man who pursues her.
I mean, you know, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Weird. So we didn't do that this time.
Although Disney had previously hinted about updating the Snow White remake, Ziegler's remarks seemed to flatly reject the film's cherished romance. However, her announcement that they were taking a different approach with the movie was what truly enraged many. Snow White, the first full-length animated Disney feature, is a classic for a reason. According to critics, who accused her of criticizing the same movie she was supposed to be celebrating. If you hate the story so much, some even pointed out the irony. Why take the job? Disney's live action, as one fan pointed out on X. The conflict was much more than Snow White's agitation over Zegler's casting. In a 2020 episode of Mark Moron's WTF podcast, Peter Dinklage discussed his feelings about the film's handling of the Seven Dwarfs. The Game of Thrones star didn't mince words when he voiced his displeasure with Disney's deceptive choice to cast a Latina actress as Snow White while still telling the Seven Dwarfs tale.
Aggressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward story of seven dwarves living in a cave. What the are you doing, man?
He wondered how a studio could improve one field while preserving what he saw as an archaic portrayal of dwarfs living together in a cave. His blunt critique immediately caused a stir on the internet. Weeman also expressed his views on this debate in public.
You're replacing jobs that people could have as little people. Okay. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, it's for dwarfs, you know?
While some criticized Peter for challenging Disney's selective progression policy, others cheered him for removing parts for performers with dwarfism. Disney hurried to address the criticism following the boisterous debate the next day. They claimed to have been consulting with people in the dwarfism community and to be approaching the Seven Dwarfs in a different way. This alternative strategy finally resulted in the entire elimination of the original Seven Dwarfs, who were swapped out for computer-generated dwarfs. The response was quick and severe. Fans effectively avoided the photorealistic technology, which was a total failure after viewing Disney's computer-generated dwarfs.
Totally uplifting and the right way to be woke, Link, when you actually cancel the roles for the marginalized population because just putting them on screen is somehow racist.
The true question, though, was whether Disney would continue to show off or cover this mess in silence after all the fuss. According to Variety, Disney decided to have a low-key pre-party during the day instead of the typical hubbub, since it is in some ways racist to just put members of the marginalized community on screen. This is the right way to be woke, to actually remove their positions. These computer-generated characters lack the personality and expressiveness of the original animation characters, instead seeming rigid, strange, and unnatural. The European premiere was given the hush-hush treatment on March 15th. Instead of the usual spectacular affair in London's Leicester Square, this was followed by a low-key screening at Hollywood's renowned El Capitan Theater. Is Disney's choice to conceal it in a castle in northern Spain a sign of insecurity, apprehension about controversy, or even a subtle acknowledgement that the film might fall short of expectations? With a disappointing launch, relentless criticism, and a box office performance that fell short of its $270 million budget, this quiet release looked to be another sign that Disney was getting ready for an impact. When all is said and done, the real question is how Disney made such a mistake with Snow White, which was a cautionary tale rather than just a fairy tale. Please provide your thoughts about the PR catastrophe surrounding the Snow White remake in the space provided for comments below. Watch the video below if you want to see more of the Snow White drama.